we have got Emma Bradford with us. Woohoo! Exciting. She is one busy lady. I tell you, I always think my life is busy, but you talk to other people and think, you know what? It's nothing. She's busy, busy lady, but she is here with us today, which is fabulous. And she is doing a Quilt As You Go project, which is absolutely brilliant if you have not done quilting before, or you might be brand new to sewing and you've just been flicking through the channels and you found us. You go, hi, come and learn some quilting. Brilliant. So for today, we've got a Quilt As You Go kit, and we've got 4 bundles to go with that and some other tools, and Emma will have loads of tips and techniques to take us through. So take a seat, come and join us. If you are brand new, we've got a special offer. We've got a couple of important things to tell you. We've got a special offer. If you have never ordered from us before, you will get 2 meters of fabric with your very first order. And when you place your very first order, don't forget, or you might be learning for the first time, we've only got 1 set of P&P. So every time you order, you place something, you ask it, and you check out, you only pay P&P once, which is an absolute bargain. So for today, for this hour, Emma is making for us a Quilt As You Go floor rug. Not your usual Quilt As You Go project, something a little bit different, but it's got lots of skills that you can transfer into standard quilting. And you can do other quilting as you go projects. So this is not usual. We're not quilting through pre-printed wadding. It's on a slightly different material. It's like a plasticky kind of backing fabric. So we'll talk about that. So this is the one that she's finished. So in terms of the pattern, this is the one that she's working from today. So it comes in a little Ziploc bag. All printed. There's a backing which we'll have a look at, and your pattern that you follow is all printed on the back. So it's a little bit difficult to see. You get one of those in here to make one exactly this size. So let's unfold this. So you've got a series of pre-printed lines. So this is not folded all the way out, but you've got all your blue lines. Can we see that on there? Just about. And those are all numbered, so there are numbers on there as well. So it is sort of paint by numbers, but quilting. So you get that pre-printed in your set. You also get all your instructions. So if you have done a June Taylor kit before, you will know exactly what you're getting. If you haven't, you'll be absolutely delighted with what you do get, because you get yourself a layout here to tell you exactly what you're making. It tells you there's some notes and there's some important information and a cutting guide to tell you exactly what you need to cut. But don't worry, if you need to see the show again, you can watch online. And then you've got all the step-by-step instructions. So you can watch our show again online, or June Taylor, they're such a fabulous company because they keep loads of tutorials online. So okay, so the design that we're making today is this one. We do have another pattern as well, which we'll show you a bit later. Pop that back in there. So this is the finished one that Emma has made. So the bundle for this one is this one here. This is purple, but the bundle is called something else. It's not purple. Tambourine. Is tambourine a colour? I think it's named after the fabric. So in this kit, you get 3 solids, a spot on, and you get a print. So you get 1/2 meter of each. So it comes with a navy, 1/2 meter, 1/2 meter magenta, 1/2 meter, 1/2 meter, and your fab print. 1/2 meter of that one as well, so that's £21.99. So that, oh, this is Anna Maria Horner, that one. Tambourine, not colour, print. So that's the one that we've got, the finished version. That's what we're making today. And Hannah, should we do the one next that Emma is demonstrating with? Let's do that one. Again, 1/2 meter of each of those. The designer print in this one is a cave print. Very nice. That's from the Artisan range. It's so soft and delicate. Let's have a look. This is what 1/2 metre looks like. So you're getting across the width of the fabric and a 1/2 metre length. This is gorgeous. Grey with big, big, beautiful flowers. And what we've done is we've managed to combine some beautiful fabrics to go with it. So we've got a solid, 2 solids, a linear and a spot on to coordinate with those. So you'll see how nicely those go together when Emma's sewing. So we've got your 1/2 metre of Kaif, you've got your grey and a pink in the solid and a linear. Oh, here we go, there's your grey, your linear. I love grey and yellow and orange together. Okay, right, next up, let's go for the blue. This is Corinne Haig, Designer Fabrics. The blue is gorgeous. I really love that because you've got your flowers, your blooming flowers, your leaves, and some little birds on there as well. Graphics are on their way. Taking their time this morning. There we go. So you get spot on in marine, 1/2 metre. You get white, 1/2 metre of the white, 1/2 of the cyan, 1/2 metre of your navy, and of course 1/2 metre of your Corinne Haig. So £21.99 for the Pagoda bundle. And last but not least, Hannah's favourite. I'm not surprised. That print is absolutely gorgeous. That's lovely. So bright and cheery. So again, 1/2 metre each of those. So you've got your solids, you've got 3 different solids. Coral, sky and chartreuse. Is that a kiwi spot on? And that's then the monsoon range by Macawa, £20.49. So those are your 4 fabric bundles that we've got. So they'll all be now, if you're looking on the website, they'll all be down the page. So let's take over the finished products and let's take some best press and I will take them. So that's what we're making today. Right.
Good morning.
Got all my stuff with me. I'll pop all those down. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good, I'm good, I'm good.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Fab. I'm just going to move those. Okay, so we're just going to pop this over here.
Yeah, it's a really nice project. Really good beginner project.
Oh, is it?
Yes, yes, and
Fab.
it's slightly foundation piecing.
Okay,
but
slightly.
but very light, so I actually enjoyed it. Yeah.
It was all right?
it was really good, really good.
Good. Okay. So good for beginners. Mm-hmm. Fab fabrics.
Yes. And the good thing I liked about the fabrics was that you've got an equal amount of each one. So you can really play around with where you want to put your fabrics. So
Okay.
I've chosen this
Combination.
way of doing it. Yes. But you can really mix and match how you want to do it.
Okay, and how much fabric do you have left over?
It depends on the colour.
Okay.
But you do get, I mean, I've already cut what I need out of this fabric, for instance, out of the bundle.
Oh, right,
And this
okay.
is what's left over.
Right,
So-
okay, and where in the finished sample are you using this particular print?
This is the spot-on,
Same place.
spot-on, so yes, I've got a
Okay,
couple.
so
Yeah.
if you'll use whatever fabric you use for those 2, that's
Yeah.
how much you're going to end up with
Yeah.
left. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, first thing that you need to do, read the instructions.
Read the instructions.
Before
Are you
get-
generally an instruction reader or you just wing it and go for it kind of person?
I have been a wing it person, but I have to admit, since doing demonstrations, I've actually been doing it because,
Reading
yeah,
instructions.
yeah, you really need to, just to get your head around where you are, and especially with the colours. So because you can put your colours wherever you want to, you've got to decide which ones you're going to be. So they've labelled them A, B, C, and D,
Okay.
and then you're binding. So you've got to decide which is your fabric A, which is your fabric B, C, D, and all of that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So the bundle that we've got the finished sample in is the tambourine one, and that's running across the bottom of the screen. You might call it purple, but it's tambourine.
Yeah. It's
$21.99. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, and the other thing about reading instructions, it is literally one A4
page.
sheet a page. So
Okay.
it's not
Too overwhelming.
No. Very simple.
Okay.
So once you've decided where all your colours are going to go, next thing you need to do is press, and using best press.
Okay.
So your best press is just to add a little bit of body to it.
Okay.
Because of the way we're going to sew it, it's really important to add a little bit of stiffness to it.
Right,
Basically,
okay.
so it works a lot better for you.
Okay, and we've got best press. Is that yours that you brought, or have you got that one from the green room?
This is one that came with, well, I got sent with a
That
kit.
you got sent with it. And which one did you have? So you've got the lavender.
Yes.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is very nice.
So
I
we've
almost
got
enjoyed ironing with it.
It is really lovely, isn't
yeah.
it? Who was it? It was on air the other day, and she said she just sprays it all over the place all the time, just because she loves the smell of it.
It is really nice.
So we've got, just before we move on, we've got 3 different versions of the Best Press, and Best Press is an absolutely super product. It just gives you that little bit of stability for your fabrics, like you say.
Yes.
It's not really a starch. It does the same thing that you might think that starch does, but without making it too crispy and too...
Yes, and the other thing I like about it, instead of the starch, 'cause I have used a spray starch, sometimes if you don't get all the bubbles out on a spray starch, when you iron it, you get that crispy layer on top. At least I have.
It's almost like dandruff.
No. Exactly,
yes. It's really
fabric
horrendous.
dandruff. But this
So
is soaks right in.
why are you using it on this project?
Well, one, because when you, I'll show you when we sew it.
We'll see when we
It's
go along.
important for it to be nice and flat when you're sewing it. The other thing is, for your prints, they're a slightly, this one wasn't too bad, but the one that I'm going to be using out of this kit, the calf.
The cave slightly lighter weight, isn't
It's
it?
slightly lighter weight, and it just adds a little bit, but it's going to help you all along.
So it adds a bit of body and a bit of strength without making it stiff. That
Yes.
standard starch might do.
Yes.
Okay, so you have the lovely lavender.
Yes.
But we also have, we've got the linen fresh, which is this one here, that looks slightly blue, but it doesn't change, it doesn't come out blue or anything. So that's your linen fresh. So it's $4.99. That's for a spray bottle. Really useful. I use it a lot for when I'm doing things like half square triangles and anything where you end up with bias edges, just to try and give it a bit of stability. And sometimes just when I'm dealing with, if I'm doing something like dressmaking, if I've got a flimsy fabric that just needs a bit of taming.
Yeah.
Anything to make your life easier. And then if you don't fancy the lavender or the linen fresh, choose the scent free, $4.99, same price, same volume. And they last a really long time, actually. Yeah. Although I guess it depends on how heavy-handed you are.
That is true. That is true.
How unwieldy your fabric is. But for something like this, it's just a light spray. And you spray before you cut or after you cut?
So I've sprayed it before I ironed it, actually.
Right.
Yeah, so before I cut. So as soon as I took it out of the packet, decided where my fabrics were going to go.
Yep.
Pressed it using the best. Read the instructions.
Read the instructions.
Then pressed it using my best press.
Okay.
And then cut the strips, and it tells you you've got different amounts of strips per colour, obviously. So I'm just going to go through cutting strips because it is a really good beginner project.
Yeah.
And if nobody, I mean, when I first started, I didn't know how to do strips, and then I actually saw it on telly. I'm like, oh,
that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. So yeah.
Fab.
So I've got my remnants of fabric. And what you do is you fold it so that your selvage edges match together.
Okay. And if anyone doesn't know what a selvage is,
selvage
I
edge,
guess.
yes.
I guess if we're going to do beginner, we may as well start right at the beginning.
Yeah. So your selvage edge
and loads of people will know.
Yes.
But there's also loads of people that don't.
That's true. That is true. So this is your width of fabric. So when you fold out your fabric, this goes along the width, and along each edge you've got the finishing edge. So this is where the edge has been finished woven.
Okay.
And that's your selvage edge. And those tend to be a lot less stretchy than the rest of the fabric.
Yeah, they're slightly more tightly woven.
And there's a little, you'll see they have little holes in them, and yeah, they usually have what the fabric is on one side as well.
And just so you know, the piece that you receive will be slightly bigger than this.
It will be,
because
because
I've already cut out.
Yeah, they're all about half metre. Well, they're all half metre each. So yeah. So then you put your sewage edges together. If you've got a longer piece of fabric, sometimes if you've got a whole metre, they don't always, because of the way they're folded on the bolt, they don't always get cut evenly, if that makes sense.
Yep.
They get a bit squiffy.
Yeah, somehow. I don't know how, because it's all done by machine, but somehow it does get a bit squiffy.
So what I always do is match up my selvage edges, hold up my fabric, and then I want my fabric to lie flat at the bottom. Sometimes if I was to put it up against this edge, for instance, which isn't quite right, you'll sometimes see that it'll bow in the middle, so you'll see as
you can see it's just not quite sitting
right. So if that happens,
and you can see it's just created that little ripple.
Yes. If that happens, you just hold it up and just move your selvage edges. I just rub them against each other one way or the other until that bottom edge is completely lying flat. And don't be afraid to do it quite a bit, because sometimes they are a little bit off.
Okay.
And then,
so do you do this every time you cut fabric?
yes.
Okay.
And then what sometimes I do is, because I'm a ripper.
Oh, are you?
Yes, I'm a ripper. So what I'll do is I'll actually, if I've got quite a bit of it, rip the edge so that you're ripping all along the grain.
Yep.
So you've got something to go against as well.
Okay.
But that doesn't always make it lay completely flat sometimes, because
Right,
it's sometimes
okay.
in the weave. So once I've folded it, I've made it completely flat. One fold, then I fold it over
again. And would you ever
again.
press that, or do you just leave it on the fold?
I leave it on the fold.
Okay.
It's preference. My motto is always, there's no right or wrong way, really. Only the way that works for you.
Yep.
So I've never needed to do that. So once I've got it folded into quarters, what I like to do is line up my folded edge up against one of the lines on the mat.
Yep.
So I know it's completely straight. And then I'm going to just tidy up this edge. So just cut off. You want to make sure that you're cutting through all the layers of your fabric. So you're cutting all your edges off. So you've got a nice straight edge to start from.
Okay.
Now I'm going to be quite generous. I'm going to cut it at the inch just to make it easier.
Okay, so people getting home can see.
Yes. But if I was at home, I might cut it at that half inch just
Save
to
fabric.
save every little bit.
So you're using here, this is a 24.5 by, what have we got? 6.5 inch
yes.
ruler.
And I really like, this is a really good beginner ruler because it's big enough that it will cut through most of the bits that you need, but not so big that it's unwieldy.
Okay.
So it's a good all-purpose starter
size.
Yes.
Because you wouldn't ordinarily think, oh, I'm starting, I need a big ruler.
No.
But actually it is
really handy because you get to the point where, okay, little Diddy ruler was cheaper and it's handy to begin with, and then you find that, oh, actually, I just need a couple more inches
to cut all the way across the width of fabric. Okay, so that one will be on the website for you. Oh, there you go, on the graphics, $23.99.
Make sure I get through all of that. There we go. That's my edge nice and neatly tidied up.
Okay, nice and neat.
First strip that I need, well, if I was going to cut this size, the strips that I need for...
So that's a C strip.
So I need 2 pieces, 5.5 by 20 inches.
Okay, so I'll hold that just a second so people can see. So you've got your diagram at the top that talks about the ABCD rectangles across the top here. And then down here it talks about your cutting instructions. So it says here for fabric C and what you need to cut. Okay.
So I'm going to cut that one strip 5.5 inches wide.
Okay.
Put that aside for now. And then what you can do, because your width of fabric tends to be 42 inches across.
Yep.
You can actually just cut both of your strips all at the same time.
Okay.
So I'm going to need 20 inches.
This little lip here is really annoying, isn't it?
I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah.
Just needs lifting up that corner of the table.
Mm-hmm. So I've got my 20 inches right here, so I'm going to cut this edge, and then I'm going to turn it around and trim it off.
That one. So you just need to watch that you're not, that 20 inches isn't on your selvage.
Yes, so you want to leave your selvage out. That's one. Then just carefully, because I've got 2 together.
Okay.
20 inches. There we go. So those are my 2 C strips. Then.
Okay.
And you just continue in that vein till you have all your strips cut.
All your strips cut.
And it's all very clearly marked. and most of them, well, they all are, except for the border, they're all 20 inches long.
Oh, right, so that's easy. So
yeah.
you've not got to keep referring back once you've got that in your head.
Exactly. And you can do that same method of leaving your strip folded in half and then cutting your 2 strips at a time, basically.
2 at a time.
Yeah.
Super.
So that's that. And then you take your, oops, sorry. It's like your foundation piece. So I've kind of started 1/2 just to get started.
Oh, fab.
So normally you
really,
yeah, I love these colours.
So nice.
Yes. So they're all numbered. So you got 1, 2. So it's numbered. So you start from the middle out. I've done one side, but you would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in that order.
Right. But like you've done, you could just work in one direction.
Yes, you could.
Oh, definitely. I love seeing it come together.
Yes, it's so nice, so nice. So this part you do need a pinner, not usually a pinner.
Okay, but and you're all right to pin through this because this is slightly unusual.
It is. It's a little bit like blackout lining.
Oh yeah, it is
curtains.
actually. I was trying to think what it reminded me of. It is a bit like blackout fabric because it's not like plasticky.
No,
but it's
got a little bit of that feel to it, and the backside is kind of flocked, a little bit like brushed cotton.
Yes, but a very, very fine brush. So that feels like quite. So you need the
lines up.
Yeah, the lines are up, and the slightly flocked side is on the underside.
Yes.
And I guess the benefit of doing this kind of thing rather than the usual wadding, because normally with a quilt, as you go, if anyone's seen those before, you've got fabric on the underside. Yeah. And I guess because it's a floor rug, you wouldn't necessarily want to put fabric directly on the floor.
No.
I guess this is easier care.
Yes, it's a bit more hard wearing.
It's not non-slip.
No,
it's not. It's definitely not a non-slip.
No,
but it would be more hard wearing than a fabric.
Yes. And actually, after the finished one, the feel of it would be really nice for a tablecloth.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it's because it's nice and smooth.
It is nice and smooth, and it's not super thick. It's lays nice and flat. So
okay, and it washes all.
Yes.
You can put it in the wash, but that I imagine would be more hard wearing than fabric, especially if you got on like a tiled floor where you've got slightly bobbly bits.
Yes.
And it would wear through.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah. So you lay your mat face up, all your lines are face up, which I like because usually with foundation piecing it's the opposite.
Yeah.
So I really like this. So you start with your strip in the middle, and what you do is you line up, your strips will fit exactly inside the lines once you've cut them.
So you do need to be quite precise with your cutting, so follow what you've done to cut them exactly to size.
Yes.
Okay.
If you're out a little bit, it's not completely the end of the world, but yeah, just bear that in mind if you have them, because this one, for instance, is a little bit longer, so I'm over the edge here.
Okay.
So I'll just have to be careful when I go to that next bit.
Do you want me to move it all this way a little bit?
Yes, please. So this is my next strip. So what you do then, once you lay your centre one out.
Okay. And do you pin that in place, or how do you secure that for the first one?
You do pin it. Okay. I pinned it after I laid this one on top. So this will be your next one, and you line this one up to the line. Make sure it's all up against that line. And all your seams are going to be a 1/2 inch.
Oh, a 1/2 inch, that's nice and generous.
It is. So I'm just pinning through all the layers just to keep that in place.
And this is okay to pin through, it's not too tough?
It's not too bad at all. And pin as much or as little as you like.
But you would suggest pinning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because you will be moving it. And this is where the best press helps it to stay nice and flat. So you don't want to have any buckles in your
nice and flat.
in your strips. So that best press just helps to keep it really nice and flat, a really nice sharp edge along your seam as well. There we go.
Okay.
And then you've got 2 options. I like this one. So you do have 1/2 inch seam.
Right.
So you can either...
So you're not... Because normally in quilting projects it'll all be a quarter of an inch seam.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I've been doing is marking them. So then I just have to sew directly on my line, which makes it even easier.
Okay, so you're using a friction pen for that?
Yes, and it's okay to use a friction pen on this part. Usually I would give a little caveat, but you're not going to see it. It's going to be directly on the seam line. so you can be as generous and heavy-handed as you like.
Okay.
Normally I'd say if you're using a friction pen on a piece of fabric that's going to be seen, do a test bit first.
Okay.
Because on some fabrics it can leave a little pale mark sometimes.
Yeah, I've fallen foul.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just, I love friction pens, but you do just bear in mind.
Use with caution.
Yes, exactly.
So those are online. We've got other colours online as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've drawn a 1/2 inch line in from those raw edges.
Yes. And I'm using my walking foot. I did use just a flat foot for the sample one, but I find this walking foot just helps to feed it through quite nice and evenly.
Okay. All right. So what would you do if you didn't have a walking foot? Do you think it's necessary to have one, or did you get away without it?
It was fine without it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but it would make life easier
A little
if
bit
you have
easier,
got one to
yeah.
stick it on.
And the other thing I've done is I've increased my stitch lengths to about 3,
Okay.
again to help ease it through a little bit easier.
Sorry, I moved
because
your pincushion.
the plastic on the bottom, it has a tendency to stick a
Okay.
tiny bit.
Right,
Not
okay.
so you'd have a problem, but
And it won't damage the machine or anything?
No.
I know it sounds daft, but
No,
if
but
you've
yeah.
only sewn fabric
Yes.
before to do with a
it's
different
quite
material.
thin. It's not like oilcloth where it's quite thick
Okay.
and dense, or leather or anything like that. It's actually, it literally is sort of like blackout lining on a curtain.
Okay, so do
it's-
you think you would be all right just with the standard machine needle?
Yes, just a standard machine needle, but I would definitely change my needle after I did this
After you've
project.
finished?
Yes.
Okay, so standard needle, walking foot if you've got it, and a
Yes.
slightly longer stitch length,
Yes.
and pin.
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 Yes. I'm using a dark thread on here just so it can be seen, but
You can see.
it would come with a complementary thread. And it's also a really nice, quick project. Once you've got it all cut out, it's definitely a morning's project.
A morning's work.
Yes.
I think other than the binding, it takes a bit longer.
Yes,
You
but
reckon
even
you could
that.
get it all done?
Yeah.
And you've sewn over
Yes.
that line?
Because you're going to have another strip that goes across here.
Okay.
So that's fine.
And I guess you're not really going to see the back, so it doesn't matter
No.
where those stitches go to.
No.
Okay.
And again, I used a complementary thread on that one. So if you look on the back, because it's white, you actually won't see any of the stitching on that one, really.
Oh, no,
I mean,
okay.
it sort of blends. Whereas this one, obviously, you can see all the blue lines on the back. But even so, it's just the back.
Okay.
So we've got that bit. Now we need to press it. Oh, pressing.
Pressing.
Be careful.
move.
It does warn you in the instructions that be careful how you press. Because we talked about that flocked side, I haven't pressed this side at all.
Okay.
I've always done it from the top. And
Right,
actually, when I
okay.
started out, I actually used a linen tea towel on top just to be sure that this wasn't going to melt or anything like that.
Okay.
But I've just used a regular iron this morning, and it's been absolutely
And
fine.
it's okay.
But
okay.
I wouldn't.
And on a medium heat setting or a high?
A medium to high, yeah. It was fine, it didn't do anything. But if you are concerned and you do have a very nice iron that you're precious about, yes, use a linen tea towel in between just to
I'll give you
be
that
safe.
back.
Thank you.
And I'll move those a bit.
Perfect.
All yours.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to add a little bit of this. I'm going to press my stitches in place, although it doesn't matter quite as much as with quilting, but old habits die hard.
Yes, yeah. Well, and I think you sort of get yourself into a habit
You
of
do.
doing things a certain way.
There we go.
Okay.
And then we just do our next strip, so you can see that strip is cut so that it goes up to the next blue line.
Okay.
But you've got a generous 1/2 inch seam allowance.
So it doesn't matter if you're a little bit out,
No.
so don't panic.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Don't panic. So you're a little bit over here, a little bit under here, but overall it's going to be absolutely fine.
Okay. All right. What's your next plan? Are you going to sew another strip?
I'm going to sew another strip. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to continue in that vein along here, which is what I've just done there.
Okay, well can I leave you to do that?
Yes,
and I'll go and remind
because
everyone of everything that we've got today.
Yes.
I'm going to take Best Press with me. I'm going to take the pattern and I'm going to take a ruler. Do you mind if I steal
no,
this
go
ruler?
for it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so the pattern itself, I'll pop all this up here. So the pattern that we're doing today is the Quilt As You Go striped version. £15.99. You can re-watch the show to get Emma's tips on how to cut. So if you're new to quilting or new to dealing with Quilt As You Go type projects, then she's got lots of tips for you. So this makes one rug for you. And let's have a look. What was the size on that one? 24 inches by 36 inches. Okay, so that's pre-printed. If you are a little bit more adventurous, we have got a slightly different design, which is called, has it got a name? Lattice. Doesn't say it on here. Floor Decor DIY Rug Kit. Doesn't say lattice anywhere. That's odd. Well, it's got a lattice design. So this one is 25 inches by 36 inches. Exactly the same principle, but there's just a little bit more cutting and a few more seams. But look at the effect that creates. That's super, isn't it? So £15.99 for your lattice version, pulled together in the same way. All pre-printed onto the, it is like blackout fabric, slightly flocked on one side, woven. Okay, so those are your two kits, pre-printed kits. We've got the bundles of fabric to go with. People, I think, just really love these colour combinations. They're absolutely beautiful. So we're going to start with the tambourine version, which is this one here. This is the one that, oh no, hold on, I've picked up the wrong one. The tambourine. This is the one that Emma has used in her finished sample. So this is from the tambourine range, and it's got some gorgeous, gorgeous prints. It's her newest range. So you get half a metre of this fabric. You get half a metre of all the fabrics, and as Emma said, you can mix and match and place those where you like. 100% cotton. So you've got your print, you've got a spot on, and then 3 solids. Super combo. You might just want to add it to your stash. You never know. You might not maybe be making a floor rug. Next up, we have got. Which one should we do? Should we use the one that she is using today, the Cafe bundle? I really love the flowers in this one. Really nice. Look at that. Get half a metre of that fabric from Cafe, Kyoto. And to coordinate with that, we've got the spot on. You've got a solid here, and then this one here is from the linear range, so that's got a really beautiful texture to it. Always nice to have something with a bit of texture. I love solids and they're so versatile, but to have something either from our bijou range or from the linear range, I think adds just a bit of interest. So £23.49 for the Cafe Kyoto bundle, £23.49, 2.5 metres in total. Shall we have a look at the blue ones with these pretty little flowers and birds? This is Corinne Haig. Look at that. Really, really, really lovely. I love the flowers and these delicate little birds all painted on. £21.99. You get 2.5 metres in total, so you get 3 solids. This is what your half metre will look like. So if you are new to us and you're buying these bundles, as is, if you happen to buy 2 of those because you've got a bigger project in mind, bear in mind that they are all pre-cut. So this is your pagoda fabric, pagoda bundle. So that's got half a metre of your designer print, you've got half a metre of your spot on, and then you've got 3 different solids to coordinate with that. So we've done the hard work, because I know buying fabric online is always really difficult because you can't quite get the tones right. Sometimes you just need your hand held, and sometimes the colour on your screen just isn't quite right. So these have all been sorted for you by the people in the office. They've done a great job. £21.99. And last up, the Hannah bundle, officially named. It's not really called that. So you've got your wonderful print from Macawa, £20.49. This is the monsoon range. Oh, Hannah's making it up. She's told me it's Macawa. It's not on the selvage. It is Macawa. God dear. So to go with that, you've got 3 solids, your kiwi spot on, £20.49. 2.5 metres again. So there's your still, that's everything that you get in that bundle, 2.5 metres. There aren't many of those bundles left. That one's proving to be very popular. Cheery one, that one. Okay, so also we've got a couple of bits and pieces today that we thought we'd show you. So this might be a first project. You may not have the tools necessary. So if you're just starting out, this is a really lovely way to start. You've got a combination here of a rotary cutter and a small mat. You can't use one without the outer. Well, you can use the mat on its own, but you can't use the rotary cutter unless you have got a mat to go with it. So this is a special edition from Olfa, and Olfa have been around for years and years and years. They know what they're doing. They're making great cutting mats. And this is a rotary cutter to go with it. Oh look, I've put it in on upside down. It can be used left or right-handed. Let's turn it over. This is a 45mm rotary cutter, and if you've not used a rotary cutter before, the 45mm Torx is the size of the rotary blade, because you can get smaller and larger as well. But the 45mm is the main size that you would use. Okay, so you might be adding to what you've already got, or you might be just starting out. So this has got a safety guard. That's a really important thing when you're using rotary blades, is just to make sure that you always leave your safety device on, if you like, and they all work in slightly different ways. This one is, the safety is on, and you can see the yellow disc in place, and you just slide it back, and that exposes the blade. So just make sure every time that you've done a cut and you're moving to one side, just put that safety in place where you place it down, because you might kind of bash your hand against it. You might have naughty kitties walking across the table when you're doing your patchwork, because you know cats, they're always wondering what's going on, or there might be children going around. So always just make sure that you leave your safety catch on, or whatever it is that secures your blade. So that in conjunction, you've got your small mat, and your mat measures up to 18 inches along the widest side and up to 12 inches on the other side. And you've got all your little markings at eighth of an inch markings that are always really useful. They're the most common markings that you'll use when you're quilting. Okay. Right, shall we go across and see how Emma's doing? Speed sewing. Do you need the ruler still?
Yes, please.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I took it away, didn't use it, and I'm back. Didn't bring it back.
Okay.
So, oh wow, okay.
Yes.
You've done tons.
So it's so quick.
Yeah, because I was only over there for 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
you've managed to sew 3 more strips on.
Yes.
Fab.
So the next bit is you do start with the border, and actually you'll see I haven't got my strips either perfect.
Right.
So
Okay.
this one, for instance, and some of them are a little bit longer. So if we can use our ruler,
Okay.
it's
The
not
ruler that I did bring back.
Yes. Where's my
What have you lost?
pen?
Oh, pen. There's a friction pen.
Oh yes, thank you.
I tell you, are you a neat sewer at home or a messy sewer? I'm really messy as well.
Yeah.
I'm really terrible. I'm always easy. I bought the other way. They're so easy. Have you seen the storage things that we do?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, with the silicone things. I bought one of those in a vain attempt to try and make myself more organised.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing the same thing. I'll always lose small scissors, pens, marking tools. They disappear under bits of fabric.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no,
Terrible.
okay. I feel a lot better now. Right, so your border is 2.5 inches. I mean, actually, let me double check that that's correct. Let me use the, if I'm saying that right. It's actually 2 inches.
2 inches, okay.
2 inches. So in some parts you can
but
actually
you will have cut
see it.
your strips wider, won't you, for the seam allowances?
It's actually the same.
Oh, okay.
It's actually, well, so it's 2 inches from this blue line to this blue line.
Right.
But you're going to sew half an inch into this anyway.
Yeah.
So they should be 20 inches across, but if you haven't put your strips exactly right, like I do, or sometimes that you've cut them a little bit longer so they actually overhang the blue line so you can't actually see it. This is what I did with a sample as well. So I just lined up my 2 inch against the blue line on the outside and just marked.
Oh, right,
so the
okay.
bits
So
that are
when your
overhanging,
fabric's overhanging,
yes, you
Right.
can still see where your blue line should be.
your placement line.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, you've got just a touch.
Yeah,
Now you're on. We've missed.
perfect. Oh, okay, that lip.
Yes, that lip. So again, that's where something like this longer ruler is really, really useful.
It is, because you don't think you're going to need that extra few inches. You think, oh, I'll just get away with a small one, but there are times
Yeah, it
when
almost
it's...
feels like it's a specialist item that you
Yes.
need when you're really good at quilting.
Yes.
But actually,
No, yeah,
it
it's
is used
really,
for so
really
many things.
handy.
So that one's going across the bottom of the screen. That's a Creative
sorry,
Grids
that-
ruler, 24.5 by 6.5.
So then I take my long...
Oh, someone's messaged in. Jan's
Ooh.
messaged in, and
Hi,
she's
Jan.
made a version.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
in cord. Fab.
Wow, oh, I love those colours.
Oh, Jan, where have you
Really
put that?
nice, really
that would be
nice.
good to know.
Yes.
Super. Thank you. Thanks, Jan.
So I'm just going to pin it in place.
Okay, so
at the
these are
edge.
your border strips.
Yes.
Are they called border strips in the instructions, or are they just called strip number 10?
These are my D strips.
D strips.
And the longer.
Okay.
There's two versions. You've got a shorter one, which will go along the edge here,
Okay.
and then the longer. 2 longer ones, 2 short ones.
Okay.
Oh, and the other thing I was going to say actually with the prints, because you've got enough to play around with, you can play with the pattern a little bit,
Oh, okay.
the placement. So in this one, I would have been nice to have that one right in the middle if I was thinking about it. But on the
It's not always
sample
done.
with the lines,
Yes, with
you
the
can-
wavy lines.
Yeah, you
Let
can
me
make
just
sure that they
run
sort of
across.
match. Yeah,
Very nice.
if that bothers you, or if you want to play with that.
Okay, you've got about 10 minutes.
Okay. I'll just leave this pinned because
Okay.
you'll also mark your 1/2 inch. Because what I'd like to show before we get started on that is, so you mark your 1/2 inch, sew it exactly the same way, do it on the other side, and then your 2 end ones.
Okay.
And then what you do is you trim all along this blue line. So either scissors.
On the line.
Yeah, actually on the line. So either with scissors or with a rotary cutter,
Okay.
whichever you prefer. I actually used my scissors because it was easy to just lift the fabric up a little bit because it's not sewed on the edge.
Right, okay.
And so you do that, and then you do the binding. And I just wanted to show quickly binding.
Oh, fab.
Yes. So I've gone with the pink for binding. And I've cut 3-inch strips. I always use 3-inch strips for my
3-inch
binding.
strips.
Yes.
Okay. And then so for anyone, again, back to basics.
Yes.
Anyone that hasn't seen, the binding
Yes.
is...
The edge along here. So this is your binding.
Okay, and so you say you've cut 3-inch strips, and you've cut those... have you cut those on
Width.
the bias or on the width of the
Width.
fabric?
So this is straight binding.
Straight binding.
Yes.
Okay.
The bias binding is a whole other technique, which is I enjoy. I do that.
But more for dressmaking than for...
Actually, you know what? I've always done it for quilts.
Oh, have you?
Yes, only because my quilts always get used quite a lot.
Yes.
And if you do it on the bias, so along the bias here, you'll have that bias edge along the edge of your quilt, and you've got all those little threads running, and it's a lot stronger, a lot more durable. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you've got across the width of the fabric,
you've
you
got
think
one
about...
or 2 threads going all along the edge this way, and then lots going that way. But if that one splits this way, then it's going to
Then
split
it
open.
goes.
Yeah.
So I
basically.
guess if you have a quilt that you're looking to wash and wear, if you like,
Yes.
wash and wash and wash,
It's
then
worth doing some bias
bias
binding.
binding.
Yeah, and it isn't super difficult. You just need a little bit more fabric, that's all.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so I do these so that they're...
And the instructions, you say you cut your binding at 3-inch wide. What do the
Oh,
instructions...
good. I think it does say 3 inches, actually.
And we've lost the instructions. They were there.
It was
They've
bound to
gone.
happen between the two of us.
It was. Oh, don't blame me.
Oh,
I'm joking.
no, it does say
Binding.
3
Oh,
inches.
3 inches as well.
So that's why I
Okay.
did that. No, there's a reason. So what you do, and I'm very much of the Gino de Campos school of quilting.
Oh yeah.
Minimum effort, maximum enjoyment.
Okay, fine.
So I don't even bother to cut my selvage edges, but you do need to be careful which way your seams are,
Okay.
which side they are. So you just fold it across. Let me just make sure. If I sew that, is that going to be on the correct side? Yes. So you put them at a 90-degree angle to each other.
Okay, so
And
right sides together,
Yes.
90-degree angle, and you've overlapped those selvages.
Yes, so that they will come off. You can cut them if you like, but that's just an extra step that I find unnecessary.
Yeah.
Now you can mark it. I'm going to mark it just so everybody can see, but sometimes you can just eyeball from corner to corner.
Okay.
So you want to sew those two pieces together along that edge.
Okay.
And then normally what I would do if I'm doing them all together, I would then take this one.
The next end.
Yes, put that down, put the next one on top. And you have to be careful that you keep your seams going the correct way, because I've done that as well.
Oh, I've done that as well.
Yeah, so
It's really annoying.
just a word of warning. And then you can either use your rotary cutter or pair scissors. Just to trim.
Okay, so you're chopping that excess off,
Yes.
and you're cutting the little ears off.
Yes. And then what I would do is press that open.
Super.
So I'll just finger press it for now.
Okay.
And then I always I have been machine binding. So there's two ways of doing the binding. You can hand finish
Yep.
or do it all on a machine.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to hand finish, what you would do is you fold this in half, and then you would line up on the front of your quilt,
Yep.
line it up with the edge of your quilt.
Okay.
So about 1/2 inch in.
Because you've got 3-inch,
Yes.
not
Yes. So it's not-
smaller, so you're
yeah.
1/2 inch in.
So once you've got it sewn all the way around 1/2 inch, then you fold it over and you can just hand stitch the back.
Okay.
If you're doing it on the machine, it's the opposite.
Right.
So you will stitch it on the back
Okay. Raw edge to the edge of the quilt.
Yes.
Machine it on.
and then flip it over and then machine stitch along the edge. And you can do either a straight stitch, which I've done on here, or if you're not comfortable with how straight your straight stitches are, do a zigzag,
Yep.
or do a decorative. You can really have fun with it.
Okay.
And then, how much time have we got?
About 4 minutes.
Oh, okay. Right. So, when you've sewn it, wish I had something to.
What do you need?
I was going to show how when you sew it together, how you join them.
Is there something underneath? There might be some fabric under there if there's not full, or
Actually, do it on here.
yeah, just stick
Or
it on
just-
that.
Actually, I think we can just do it without stitching.
Without. Okay.
So we're going to pretend.
So if you just shovel that
Yeah.
out of the way.
We're going to pretend that this edge is sewn onto your quilt already, and you've gone all the way around.
Okay.
Or when you start, that's the other important thing. When you start, you want to leave a good sort of 6 to 8 inches. So when you start stitching your binding, don't start at the end of the strip. Start
Right.
here, so that
Okay.
you've got a little bit of flap,
Yep.
basically. And then when you get to the end, you'll probably have more
Okay.
than you need. So you get to the stitching here, and you're like, okay, so how do I join these two together?
Yep.
So this will be folded in half. And what you do is, I'm going to use my rotary. Normally I'd use a scissor for this part. So I'm going to cut my strip straight across like that.
Yep.
And then I'm going to lay this one on top. And then that little bit that I've just used, you want it to be 3 inches. So I've opened it up,
Okay.
and then you can just lay it down. So I'm laying it down against the edge of the strip that I've just cut.
Underneath.
Yep. And I'm measuring 3 inches from that cut to the one on top. So
Okay.
they overlap 3 inches, basically.
Right. So they overlap by the width
Yes,
of the binding.
exactly. There we go. So then you'll end up with an overlap 3 inches top and bottom.
Okay.
If you leave enough of a gap, you leave a nice big gap, it's easier.
Okay.
So then what you'll do is you'll open them up and then you'll cross them again.
Yep.
Just like that. Again, bigger gap makes it
But this
easier.
time you've got the raw edges matching.
Yes, because selvage edges are gone. Yeah, so you leave, put them at a right angle again. And then you would sew across. You don't have to mark it, or you can if you've got room. So then you mark it across there, sew it across, trim the edge, and then you've got a nice, neat edge that you can just fold over, and that will just sit nicely in that gap that you can then finish sewing the edge of your binding
So
on.
that little gap that you left at the beginning.
So that's how you do that, and then you fold it over and
fold it over.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do that join before you're attaching either with your zigzag or straight stitch.
yes, that's just to
hand.
finish off actually attaching the binding onto the front or the back, depending on how you're doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super. Thank you very much.
You're
Anything
welcome.
else you need to impart?
There was something. What was I thinking?
Change your needle after the project.
Yes, definitely change your needle after the project.
If it comes back to you.
Yeah,
Just shout.
Yeah, we'll say it in the second hour. So.
Super. Thanks, Victoria. Thank you very much. We shall see you in an hour.
Okay.
Right, what shall I take with me? I think I'll take the ruler. I've got the best press. I've got the instructions. Right, I think that's it. Right, so we're going to start off with the rug instructions. We've got 2 different sets of instructions for you. We've got the one that Emma is demonstrating today, and we've got the lattice version as well. So the one that we have today is the striped version, £15.99, loads of these in baskets. Jan, thanks for sending in your picture. I love seeing finished versions. The corduroy sounds like it's going to be quite hard wearing. So £15.99, that is for your striped version. 24 inches by 36 inches. And we've got the lattice version as well. This one's slightly bigger, well, only slightly bigger on one side. It's 25 inches by 36 inches. And this is for someone looking for a little bit more of a challenge. There's a little bit more cutting and a few more seams to do. Jan, maybe this is your next floor rug to make. $15.99. We have 4 different bundles. We have got the tambourine bundle. This is the one that Emma made the finished sample from. You get half a metre of each of the fabrics. They're all really popular. There's no one particular that's really out in the lead. Each of the bundles have got 2.5 metres of fabric. You've got your designer print, and then you've got a selection of spots or solids to go with it. So this is Anna Maria Horner that comes with your spot on, and then 3 different solids to go with that. £21.99. Super. Check out if they're in your baskets. The one that she did the demonstration with today is the Cafe bundle with these gorgeous big beautiful flowers. If you've not done any quilting before, you're going to hear Cafe a lot. He is an amazing designer. Him and his colleagues, they make beautiful, beautiful prints. £23.49 for this bundle. You get half a metre of each. You've got spot on, a linear and 2 solids. £23.49. Next up, we've got the blue. This is a Corinne Haig for Macawa. They're almost like Wedgwood. Love that. And then you've got a spot on and 3 solids, £21.99 for your pagoda bundle. Hannah bundle. Just for Hannah. Oh, knocking over the best press. Beautiful. Half a metre of that. So if you're being super crafty, you could just use this on the very narrowest of rectangles on your design. And you use the rest for English paper piecing or any other project. So we've bundled that together with 3 solids and a spot on. Super duper. So that one's £20.49. There's your still. Right, so if you are doing this project or any of the other Quilt As You Go projects that we feature on this show, Best Press is really, really useful. It just gives your fabric a little bit more body. So we've got 3 different versions. We've got unscented lavender and we've got the linen fresh. They're all the same price. Starting off with the lavender, all the same price, $4.99, all exactly the same size, 177 mils, which is 6 ounces if you're still dealing in ounces. You never know. So that's your lavender. We've got the linen. It feels like that game where you're with the cups. Where is the red ball? So that's your linen fresh, $4.99. And then the last one, scent free, $4.99. We've had a couple messages in today, thank you, but the iPad's playing up. We've got problems with the Wi-Fi, so may not be able to read out as many messages. We're not ignoring you. They just can't come through, and I'm not very good at the iPad. I have been trained on how to use it, I keep getting it wrong. Rubbish. But yes, we've got a problem with Wi-Fi, so the iPad's not really picking up all of the messages. So send longer ones in. Do that instead. Right, we will be back in 3 minutes, and I'm going to run through loads of gorgeous fabrics. Did you manage to snaffle yourself some of that cashmere border print? It was gorgeous. I loved it. A skirt in that would be absolutely fabulous. If you are brand new with us today and you've got yourself some of that cashmere border print, you've got a special surprise winging your way. Every new customer that you place an order, there you go, you get 2 free meters of fabric. Don't have to do anything. You might have bought that cashmere print. You may have bought our early bird special offer. Don't need to do anything, and you'll get 2 meters of fabric popped in with your order. So when it arrives in a couple of days, you'll open it up, you'll think, what on earth have I ordered? I'm sure I only ordered scissors, but inside with that will be 2 meters of fabric. Very nice, not bad. So coming up in this hour, we have got Emma Bradford back, and look at that quilt that she has made. I really, really love it. She showed a little sneaky peek on Facebook the other day, and I was like, oh, it looks fab. It's from a brand new book, brand new today. Love it. Such a great book. Here it is. Brand new today. Quilts with an Angle. Jaunty. A field guide. We're going to talk to Emma about how she's worked with the book and what she's done, but you've got 15 projects. So 15 quilts from triangles, hexagons, trapezoids, jewels, diamonds, parallelograms and strip-pieced blocks. Shall we have a look through? Super book, £24.99. You have got, oh look, here we go. Here's a look at some of the projects that you can do inside. I'm very much a geometric kind of person when it comes to quilting. I like good, strong backgrounds and bold colours, and this is totally up my street. Very contemporary, but you know what, I'm sure, and well, there's a couple of them in more traditional. The shapes are gorgeous. Going into baskets already. So it talks about, oh, see, look at our best press, see, we're not lying. We're not lying. At Aurifil and your best press and your Clover mini roller. Have you picked up one of those before? Those are really useful. So, lots of tips and techniques. How to deal with colour. How to cut. Takes you through the process. How to deal with 60-degree triangles, which is what we're using today. So lots of tips there. And how to pull them together in blocks. I love that, like mountains. Oh, look. Super. And then you just, the amount of different bits and pieces, different quilts that you can create using similar blocks. Look at those. 60-degree trapezoid. using the same 60-degree ruler, but just using a different part of that ruler. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Oh, I love this book. Oh. That's really impactful. And sometimes it's nice just to have something that's got a repeated pattern. So you're not thinking too much about which block goes where and why and how and losing track. 60-degree diamonds. So you've gone from the triangles to the trapezoids and onto the diamonds, all with that same size ruler. So that's the Misty Morning quilt, which uses the same block. This isn't the quilt that we're doing, but it uses the same block that Emma's making. So this is the one that we're doing, Shadow Flower. Oh, where was it? There you go. There's. Oh, it looks even more, it looks different further away as well, doesn't it? So once you've got the confidence, oh look, there you go, there's the full quilt. So once you've got the confidence and you've got that, you can rearrange them in a different way to create a completely different design. So parallelograms, these were 60-degree parallelograms. Easy to say if you didn't get up early. Parallelogram. All good, really good cutting diagrams, because it gives you the name of what you're cutting, but also shows you a shape. Because some people are more visual, and instructions are really important for quilting. You've got to cut the right number and the right size. But sometimes if you're more of a visual learner, something like that is really useful. And then moving on to hexagons. Let's move on, see if we can find a quilt. £24.99. Oh, look. Super. There's absolutely tons in here. It says 15 projects, but it feels like an awful lot more. And I think that's because the instructions are quite detailed. It's nothing too out of the blue. Oh, look at that in the pastels. One of the bundles we've got today is a pastel. Okay, should we have a look at some of the fabric? Oh, no, no, no. Oh. Love that. Oh. Great book. There you go, £24.99. That's Quilts with an Angle. 15 quilts made from all sorts of different sizes and shapes. So, shall we have a look at the bundles? We've got two different bundles. They don't include the instructions. It is just for the fabric. You want to be buying the book separately at £24.99. We've got two different bundles. We've got a pastel and we've got brights. So the one that she's made the finished quilt from is the brights. So let's go through that one first. That's the finished quilt for you. So as you can see, she's made that and it's got a white background. So you've got 3.5 meters of your white fabric. This will do you the front of the quilt and the binding. And then we've got bijou in here, and this one here is 1 meter. I'm just going to move that forward if you don't mind, just so that we can remember that that one's got 1 meter. And then the rest of all of these are all 1/2 meter. You've got your orange, you've got your linear texture in berry, you've got a bijou, that one's in raisin, spot on candy, spot on sunshine, and spot on aqua. So there's 1/2 meter of each of those, 1 meter of the bijou in grey, 3.5 meters of the white, and your white thread. So that will create everything for the top and the binding. The finished size of the quilt, 56 by 60.5 inches. Ah, there we go. Finished block height, 12 inches, which means that you can make a, could you put it on a cushion, do we think? We'll have a look at that in a minute. Then the other bundle that we have is a pastel bundle, but with a background of a navy blue. I very often choose a dark binding for a quilt, so to use it for a dark background as well would be rather nice with these pastels. So you've got 3.5 meters of your navy. I'm just going to move that one forward. There we go. On your square dot in cloud, you get 1 meter of that one. That's from the Bijou range. And then your linear, can you just see there's a little dot on there, just about. There you go. So you've got a 0.5 meter of the linear tea rose, peachy arrow from the Bijou range. This is bloom daffodil colour. We got 3 spot-ons, baby blue, mauve and cheeky pink. So it's 0.5 meter of all of those. People are already checking out on that. There are less than 20 of the pastel bundle straight away. So don't forget though, you need the book as well. Okay. Good catch, good catch. I'm breaking the joint. You're going to be cross with me. Oh, this is, I love it.
Yes,
it's
I
such
really
a
like
nice
it.
book.
It is, and
Really
I love, like
it.
you said, the bits in the front, because the very first book I bought that I learned from had a lot of that for beginners, where it talks about the grain,
Because quite a lot of books do have the introduction and here's how to do stuff, but
Yes.
this feels like it's
a lot of basics,
more
which is,
detailed.
Yes. So your tools, the fabrics, choosing colours, and then so the straight grain, the bias grain. Just if you've never done anything before, this is actually a good one. The techniques are a little bit. You'd definitely have to be sort of precise and mathematically kind of minded.
Right. Okay.
So there is some precision involved, but it's a really good, slow process.
Right.
Yes, it's
Okay.
definitely a slow process quilt,
Okay.
rather than get it done in an afternoon sort of
Right.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not a small quilt, is it, that you're making?
No,
So you can't
no.
imagine that.
No.
When you see large quilts, they're just not a day job, are they? Very rarely.
It depends. Yeah.
Depends if you sleep or not.
Yes. Oh, the other thing I was going to say about the bundles, they match up really well with the colours. Actually, if you want to recreate this quilt exactly, the colours are spot on, even in the pastels, because I thought when I opened up the bundle, I'm like, oh, I might have to decide which ones go where, but no.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you've got exactly the equivalent of your purple, magenta, pink, orange, yellow, and sort of teal aqua.
Oh, fab. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so it's
they,
really
it makes it
obvious.
easier to
Yeah.
copy. Because I
Exactly.
always find it really difficult when you're looking at a colour diagram for something that shows purple, but you're working in
Yes,
green
yes.
to remember,
That's
purple means green.
Exactly. No,
Yes,
but the
I always
bundles
find it.
match up really well. So for this book, you've got your quilt patterns in the back, and all your different techniques for cutting out and making different blocks are all in the front.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of moving backwards and forwards, which is why I've got
Your tabs.
my tabs there. But it also gives you some nice options. So it's not like some books where you have to have this specific tool in
Yeah.
order to make the quilt. They give you some options.
Right, okay.
So you can either use a 60-degree angle triangle ruler,
Okay.
which does make it easier, I will have to admit.
Right, okay.
But if you don't have one at home,
And do you have one at home?
I don't.
You don't? So you...
I use a straight ruler.
Okay, but that's
Yeah.
really important for people to know at home that you managed to create that with a straight ruler at home.
Yes.
So if you've got a 60-degree ruler, brilliant.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it's not like you can't make it.
No, you can't make it. It just takes a little bit more thinking. And I did read the instructions first, and then I still did it wrong.
Oh.
But it was an easy
We've
fix.
all, we've all done that.
It was an easy fix. So if you're using a straight ruler, there is a little bit of a different technique to cutting out some of the pieces.
Okay. But they show you that in the book.
They do. And I'm going to show you as well the difference between the two.
Super.
So
So this is this quilt is made from one block. Is that right?
yes, and the one block, which I've got some kind of,
Well, should we have a look at it on the quilt? Because
Yeah.
I guess they're quite easy to see,
it's like a pie slice.
like a wedge.
Yeah. So it's actually a triangle. So it's it's just a big sort of 60
So it
degree.
goes across here.
Yeah, so that pink. So each colour is one block.
Okay, and that's interspersed with Background.
which is a solid triangle.
Triangles.
Yeah, and then your half triangles.
On the corner, on
Yes.
the edges.
And there's all instructions on how to cut those out, which is really easy.
So you're basically making that one triangular block
Yes.
in different colourways.
Exactly. Exactly. So when you go to your, let's see, here's my red tab. Instructions. So highlighters are also a good friend.
Yes,
To remember which ones are for which. So it tells you all of the shapes that you need. It tells you which colour fabric you need to cut from.
Okay.
And then it tells you, okay, this is what the shape will look like and how many you need of them. This tells you how to measure the piece.
Okay.
So,
because triangles we're quite used to in quilting, you sew with triangles relatively frequently, but something like the trapezoids aren't quite as common.
no, exactly. And if you're using a straight ruler, I did actually measure the first few just to see how I was getting on. But if you're using a triangle ruler, it tells you that the base of the triangle should be 3 3/16 inch wide.
Okay.
Which is quite precise.
That is quite precise.
Yes. So I've also borrowed a ruler from hubby.
Okay, we've
which
got
has-
these on the website
yeah.
if you would like to be.
So this actually does have
precise.
16ths on it as well to help measure.
Okay.
So it'll cut your strips. So they're mostly all 2.5 inches wide for this project.
Okay.
But if you're using a straight ruler, and it does tell you in the front, so it gives you your instructions for your 60-degree triangle ruler
Yep.
with a pointy tip, and if you've got one that has a blunt tip on it as well, it
Right.
also has instructions for that.
2 different sets of
Yeah.
instructions.
So it's just a slightly different technique, but it shows you how to actually, like on this page, it will show you exactly how to place your ruler on the fabric to measure it correctly.
Okay, brilliant.
And the other
Okay.
thing it suggests is, which I didn't have, you can get a little bit of sort of washi tape. So you need to take your strip, for instance, you need to place it a certain way. So you need to go to 2 3/4 inch.
Okay.
Put a little bit of tape across there. It's a good visual of.
To remind you
Yes, I
where
always need
you
to
are.
cut because you'll always be at the
And
same
I guess,
spot.
yes, okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
But you're using a straight ruler.
I'm going to use a straight ruler. So
And which size are you using for that?
I'm using a relatively, a smaller one, just because there's a lot of moving around.
Okay.
You could also
So
use.
that one's, this one's 4.5 by 18.5.
Yes.
Okay.
But the one I have at home is 6 by 24.
Okay.
And it works okay. It's just a little bit unwieldy, but again, you use what you got.
Yeah, you use what you've got.
Exactly.
But if you don't have, then that's quite a nice
Yes.
size.
Now, the thing that's different if you're using a straight ruler versus a triangle is that you need to cut out triangles, diamonds, and trapezoids, two
Yeah.
different sizes of your colour. For your triangles, they all need to be cut from a strip that is 2 3/4 inch
Okay.
wide. And the way we start, let me get that. And so you will need to locate your 60-degree angle. And on my ruler at home, it goes in both directions, but on the Creative Grids ones, it only goes in one.
In one direction.
So you will have to flip it over in order to get both angles.
So just so that we can show people at home,
Yes.
we've got the 45-degree lines are on the Creative Grids, normally the black lines at one end. So those are your 45-degree lines. And then your 60-degree lines are at the other end.
Yep.
There's one at the other end. But you can see here it only goes in one direction. So we'll just have to flip the ruler over.
Yep. And a rotary cutting mat really helps a lot because you've got to
Move it.
Yes, and
Okay.
it helps to do it safely, which
Okay.
I-
So I guess you've just got to bear in mind that if you are flipping your ruler over, you don't have this grippy
no.
pads.
So be careful. Yes. So I'm just going
And
to.
it is amazing how you get used to those without realising.
Yes.
Because I used a different ruler for, I don't know what reason, but I put it on and it just
Yeah.
slips and I thought, and it's something so small that you don't realise actually does make a difference.
It does. It is really nice. I really like the Creative Grids for that.
Okay, so you've lined your 60-degree line
Up. Yeah.
against that top edge.
Exactly, and I've just done my straight cut just to cut the selvage edges off and to get my first angle. Now, what I started doing in order to make sure that I was doing it correctly was I measured my 3 3/16, I think it says. 3 3/16. So, and you measure the base. So whatever it tells you the base of a piece,
Yeah.
it's that well, on a triangle, they're all going to be the same, but it'll be the bit at the bottom.
Okay.
On a trapezoid, your widest bit is what's considered your base.
Okay.
So that's the bit that you measure. And it does tell you in the book. So definitely have a cup of tea, get a biscuit, read the book.
Any excuse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not, it's not a quilt to make with an adult beverage on the side. Definitely.
An adult beverage.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I trust myself making any quilt. I'm such a lightweight these days, I don't drink a lot.
There we go. So just marking 3 1/16. But you'll see naturally when I line up my strip against my line on my ruler, on my mat, take my 60-degree line and I'm going to line it up with the line at the top. And I'm lining it up with my mark at the bottom.
So your 60-degree line
is going across this way.
Okay.
And then I can see my mark. Actually, you don't have to mark it because you'll see if you line it up with the tip at the top.
Okay.
And have it 60 degrees, it'll automatically be the correct size.
So just to make clear for everyone at home, that 60-degree line is running across here,
which goes
in
along
line with that.
Top of the strip. Yes.
Okay.
But if you really want to make sure it's precise, then you would measure each base. That's one triangle. And then I just need to flip it around to do the other side. So I'm flipping my ruler over again, lining it up at the top. There. And that's what you do for all the triangles.
Okay.
Now, what I did wrong was I then continued to cut all my other shapes out from this 2 3/4 inch strip.
Right.
Which wasn't a big problem because they all came out the same. I just ended up having to trim 1/4 inch off.
Right, so they're cut
finished
from
piece.
slightly narrower
Yes.
strips.
So once you've got all your triangles cut, if you're using a straight ruler and you've got all your triangles cut that you need for that piece, you then have to go back and if you've got any strip left, cut it back down to 2.5 inches.
Right,
Before you
okay.
cut your next bit.
Fine.
Yes,
okay.
and it does say that in the
I
book.
bet that was really annoying.
Yeah, but it was an easy fix.
Yes,
it wasn't the end of the
okay.
world.
It's not like it was the other way around. It's not like you'd cut them too small.
Exactly.
That would have been a lot more annoying.
And it wasn't the end. I just had to remember when I was sewing them together that, oh, actually, these are too big and make sure I sewed them the correct way. But yes, so don't do what I did.
Read the instructions.
Yes.
My dad would say, read the manual.
Well, I did, and then I still did it wrong because I forgot. So I'm going to put that one aside for now because I've got the triangles that I want. These ones are cut to 2.5 inches.
They're lovely together, aren't they?
Yes, they're really, really nice. Oh, before I do that bit, sorry. Let's go to cutting with a triangle then. So you'll see, I've got my 2.5 inch strip. Because I'm using a triangle ruler, I can just use a 2.5 inch strip.
Okay. So this is cutting the same thing, but with a triangle ruler.
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to cut that direction.
Okay, we've also got these ones as well. Could you use these? We've got these two.
Oh, yes.
Could we use these as well?
Yes, these are the ones that have the blunt tip.
Okay.
And so there are instructions as well. It's just where you line them up. I think they're all exactly the same.
So for this one, you're lining that up with...
Yes, so I'm lining it up with my 2 3/4 inch line at the bottom.
Okay.
I'm extending it 1/4 inch off the top.
Okay.
And then you end up with a triangle.
With a blunt tip.
With a blunt tip.
Okay, so
as
if you
opposed to
had
a pointy
this
tip.
ruler, would you line that blunt tip with the raw edge?
Yes. So let's do that one. So for this one, we need, yes.
So how does that, is that the one that you've...
Yeah, so
Let's
it
lay
needs
that
to,
on top and see.
yeah, so instead of lining it up to 2 3/4, you line it up to your 2.5 inch mark on this one. And you get exactly the same shape.
Okay. Super.
yeah.
So you've got options according to
Yes.
which ruler you've got, and those instructions are all shown in the book, aren't they? So
Yes,
how to
they
place
are.
your ruler.
Yep, and it's really nice. It's really well illustrated. We've got some lovely photos in there to really.
It's really clear,
Yeah.
isn't it? So we've got on today we've got 2 different versions, or 2 different sizes. Same thing, 2 different sizes, both from Creative Grids. We've got the 8-inch, which is the smaller one. This one here, £20.99, or look at that.
Yeah.
It's nice to know what the different options are.
Yes.
So if you've got a pointy triangle, a
Yeah,
blunt
blunted,
triangle,
or
or you've
just a
got
straight.
yourself a ruler.
Yep.
Options.
Yes.
You don't need all of them.
No.
Although I guess you would need,
need
a straight ruler to cut your strips in the first place.
Yes. And for your diamonds, so your diamonds are all cut on an angle 2.5 inches. So for that, you just line up your 2.5 inch against your angled.
Okay, and that angle is a 60 degree?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're doing it from a straight strip, you'd want to cut your 60-degree angle first.
Okay.
And then cut your diamonds. Or
But you may have cut them after you've cut your blunt
Yes.
tipped.
Yeah.
Fine.
Because you don't need quite the full length of a strip to cut out all your pieces. You might end up with some 2.5 inch strip left.
Okay.
That's right. There we go. So those are your diamonds.
Okay.
And then trapezoids. And it will tell you in the book how to measure them, and the background and the coloured ones are a different size.
Okay.
But they're always going to be 2.5
So
inch.
in the block you've got both
Yes.
print versions and background
Solid.
versions?
Yes.
Okay.
So for the first print version, and it does tell you, they're so good. This is where the highlighter comes in, because you can at a glance say, okay, what's this?
Which number am I looking at? Because it's
Exactly.
quite detailed.
It is. So the first one is 2.5 inches tall, so that's my 2.5 inch strip.
Yep.
And my base is 7 13/16. So 7 13/16 is right there. And you can do either or, so you can either use your ruler.
Do you want ruler or?
Let's do, because the only thing you're doing on this one then is cutting the angle. So you've got your mark at the bottom, and I've just used a friction pen for that, or you can use whatever. You don't have to worry about height, because your angle is always going to be the same.
Okay.
The only thing you need to worry about is lining up one of your lines against the bottom of your strip.
Yep, okay.
So that it's all lined up. There we go. And that's your trapezoid. isn't it?
Okay.
And it's the base that you measure.
Right.
So the widest part that you measure.
Okay.
I can do the same here. So the next one is 12 and 7/16. So for this one, I have to measure my 12 inches first, which is right there. And then my 7/16, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There. There we go. Again, the same thing.
So I'm just thinking, could you measure that? So how many of those will you need to cut? Because you'll need to cut, how many per block of each trapezoid would you need to cut?
So for the pink, you've got 3.
Sorry, I mean, so you're cutting one that's 12 and
Yes.
7/16. I presume you're going to have to cut that shape over and over. So could you, using that ruler, work out?
Oh, you could.
So where's your
possibly.
point that you're about to cut?
Right here.
So could you, if you've got the larger ruler, work out
Where you'd need to write it to.
So you could, because it will go between the lines, you could
You
then
would.
put a bit of washi tape
Exactly.
along your ruler to save
perfect.
measuring your time and time.
Yeah, or if you want to, you can also do, so I said 7, so you can just go along your ruler, mark off where it's 7 and 13/16.
7 and 13/16.
Yeah, so you could do that as well.
So you could then mark, so then
Yeah,
you're not
good
having
idea.
to measure time and time, you've just got that
Yeah.
taped on your
Perfect.
ruler, so you can just position
Yes.
and cut, position and cut.
Yes.
I'm just thinking, I would go crazy. So actually, by putting a bit of tape on your ruler, I think that works.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, good tip.
Sorry.
Yeah, and also you'd have your strips sort of folded in half. So what I did was
cutting two.
Yes,
Right.
and then I layered it up. So I had my strips.
So you're cutting 3 from each fabric? No.
Some of them are just 2,
but some
of
of
them are 3. Yes.
Okay.
So what I did was I layered them up, so 3 strips on top of each other, like that. And different colours, obviously, if you want to do different colours. And then I cut through all the 6 layers at once.
All at 6 at once.
Yeah. So there are some quicker ways of doing it. I'm just sort of showing.
Because you're not making a whole quilt today?
No.
Okay.
Just showing how to measure.
If you fancy the triangle ruler, the larger one, which is 12.5 inches, that's £22.99.
There.
Okay. So we've got 2 of
Two of those. So you'll have a diamond on the top. You'll have. Actually, I think they go like this, which is counterintuitive.
Yes, it is.
There we go.
Ah, gotcha. I can see what's happening. I'm looking around going, that is counterintuitive, but I can see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the pastel bundle that we're working with today. I'll go and show you the bundles in a minute.
This is basically how you're going to put them together. I always like to lay them out before I.
Then you can figure out whether you've got everything or not.
Yes, and kind of get an idea what it looks like.
I like it with the dark background.
Yes.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yes. There we go.
Okay, so for each row, if you like, you've got a print and 2 solids, or a solid and 2 prints.
Yes, so that will be, then that's your block.
Nice. I like it. Okay.
And then the sewing together.
Shall I move your rulers?
Yes,
Give it a bit of space.
So if you have, I have to do, remind me, I'll do some regular triangles actually as well, because you'll have them both ways. Because the only thing in the book, it does show you visually, but it doesn't always tell you, is how you line them up. But it does have a very good visual. So once I've got it all cut out, I then flip back to where I'm actually making my block.
Okay.
So the instructions for the block are separate from the actual quilt instructions.
Because the joy of this is the one block you can make in 2 different ways to create 2 different quilts.
Yes, there's another quilt using exactly the same block. You have enough of the colour. So this is the one, it's called Misty Morning. I'm going to show that. There's enough of all the colours in the bundle to make the blocks. You just won't have quite enough background.
Okay.
So you either need to choose to make it a little bit smaller, or maybe if you've got some background to add.
Fab. Oh, that's super. So that's the block that we're creating.
Yeah.
And that is either for this quilt or the one that you've made.
Yeah.
Love it.
So we're lining up my first one. I'm going to sew my triangle onto the bottom of my diamonds.
So, and those are your triangles with the blunt tips?
Yes. And so you just match up the point in the corner, and then your blunt tip is going to match up with the angle going up.
Oh, see, that makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That you're not going to go skew-if.
Exactly. And also it's easy to line it up, because sometimes with triangles you don't know you've got to overhang.
You're not sure if you're a bit too far to the left or a bit too far to the right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're sewing, and do you always use a 1/4 inch foot?
I do, yeah, I rely on it. And if you've got some machine, I need to make sure it's actually on the 1/4 inch foot setting. Some machines you can actually move your needle a little bit either side.
Yep.
If you really want to make sure that you've got a proper scant 1/4 inch. It doesn't specify whether you want a scant 1/4 inch or just whether it matters.
Okay.
But I just use my 1/4 inch sewing foot.
And it's
Any adjustment, very little pinning, because I'm not a pinner.
Right, okay, no, fine.
Yeah, and it does work out really well. So I'm just going to do some chain stitching. I'm going to try
the next row down.
Yes, I'm going to do one of these, because you'll see it overhangs. So you want it to make sure which one it lines up with. That's the one. So you want to line up if you've got points on all of them, you want to line up your tip with the base tip.
Okay.
So just to show the difference between these two. So if I was using one with a blunt tip, it just completely sits right on top of it.
Yes, it sits really nicely, doesn't it?
But if you've got using a straight ruler and all you've got pointed ends on all your triangles, you want to line it up with the bottom corner.
Okay, so that's the benefit of using the triangle ruler, is that it allows you to whiz those tops off.
Yes, but so just to make sure you're lining them up at the correct spot as well.
Okay.
I'll show you. So you'll see you've got a little bit of an overhang there on that triangle. And on this, so normally with quilting you press to one side or the other.
Yes.
With this one you actually press them open.
Ooh.
Which,
Why is that?
It's because you get a lot of bulk.
Okay.
When you...
Do you want to press?
Yes, please.
Move out your way.
You end up with a lot of bulk where the seams join.
Okay.
If you press to one side. Now when I made the quilt, I actually just did press to one side. And I use a long arm quilter.
Yes.
And I really needed that to get through all the layers.
Oh, really?
In some
Right.
places,
Okay.
yes. So it definitely helps.
It's done like that for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So again, it's not a... Oh, sorry. It's going to be a slow process.
Yeah, because you can't finger press open quite so
No.
easily, can you?
No. Here we go. So you just continue doing these in the strips.
Okay, and is there an illustration that shows you? Or
It shows you, for the instructions for the block, it shows you the first step of adding the triangle to the diamond at the very tip, and then you sort of just continue the same with the trapezoids. It doesn't actually show you a picture with the trapezoids.
But you can see how that first layer comes together, and then it shows each of the layers individually. Okay, all right, well, shall I leave you to do the rest of that sewing?
Yes.
And I'll go and recap it for everyone.
Perfect.
Oh, I'm just going to close that.
Yeah, because sewing the strips together is a little
tip.
Yes.
It's what we like. Super. Okay, so the brand new book with all these beautiful, gorgeous patterns in. And I love that you can learn to create that one block, and you can create two totally different quilts with that. And as Emma said, there's enough of the prints in your bundles if you wanted to create the other design, but you just need to add in a little bit more of your solid. So let's have a look through some of the pictures. What you're getting, you've got 15 different designs, all your hints and tips, and to be able to create, if you've got your triangle ruler or if you've got a straight ruler, you've got options. But for me, I think that triangular ruler looks like it makes life a lot easier. Oh. £24.99. So we are doing, so this is the block that we're doing. Let's see, oh no, that's the other one. I'm going backwards. So this is the block that we're doing here. And the two different quilts that you can create are the Misty Morning, and that's the line drawing for that one there. And then I'll just show you the Shadow Flower line drawing, which is on a different row. Yeah. So I'm going to flip. So that's that one, and then I'm going to flip back so that you can see the other one. So that's created with exactly the same block, and as Emma very kindly has worked out, that we've got enough of the print fabrics to create either design. It's just for this one that we're not showing today, you would just need to add in a little bit extra solid. So loads and loads of projects in there, £24.99. Make sure that you check out on that because it's proving to be very popular today. So to make life easy peasy, I would go with a triangular ruler. You can use your rectangular ruler if you like, but I think I would find life a lot easier and quicker if I had a triangular ruler. We've got two different sizes for you. We've got an 8.5 inch and a 12 inch. These are the rulers that have got the flat tips to them. So this is the one that's in the 8-inch version, £20.99. All from Creative Grids, so you've got those same grippy bits on the underside. So 60-degree triangles, and this is your larger one. And I'd be personally tempted, for the extra £3, I'd be tempted to buy this one because you could cut those larger trapezoids with this larger size. Use it for other projects in the book, and of course you can go onto the Creative Grids website. If you scan in, well, it's got instructions that come with it, but if you don't have those instructions, you can scan in that QR code or just go onto the Creative Grids website, and they've got loads of tips and ideas and ways that you can use your triangles. Very useful. £22.99. Okay. So today we're working with two different fabric bundles. We've got a bright and a pastels. The one that Emma has used in order to create the finished sample, she's used the brights with the white background. Look at all that fabric. You've got 3.5 meters of your white fabric, which is the background and the binding. You've got 1 meter of the grey bijou. And then 1/2 meter of all of the other colours. You've got 3 spot-ons, another print from the bijou range, a linear and a solid. And the nice thing is like Emma said, they're quite closely matched to the colours that are used in the quilt in the book. There you go, that's what it makes. Oh, they look almost like wrapped sweets. You know what I mean? Oh, ready for food. So that's £62.49. The one that we're working with now is the pastel bundle, which has got that rather nice navy blue that you're using from the background and the binding. Loads of people with this one in baskets. Again, 7.5 meters. Tons of your navy blue, 3.5 meters. And then your cloud from the bijou range with the little squares. You've got 1 meter of that, less than 20 of these left. And then look at that selection of pastels. I love those. Beautiful, sort of peaches and pinks. Okay, should we go back? Check out on those. Those are whizzing out the door. So let's go over and see. Right. Oop. Have we given you enough time?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was just laying out. So this is one I did earlier in the yellow one. I wanted to see them both come together. Oops.
Don't want to take that mat out your way.
Oh yes, please. Thank you.
And they can sit flat.
Oh yeah.
So you've got 10 minutes.
Oh okay. So that's blue. This is the purple. So it gives you it's really nice together.
They are.
Right. And then you would sew those two together.
Yep.
Those two together. And then what you do to line them up, so you can see there's some little pointy bits sticking out.
Yes.
The little triangles are sticking out. That's where you line up your points of your top.
Okay, so don't trim them off.
No, don't trim them off because it's really helpful, again, to see where you need to match them up to, basically.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're, at least for me, I'm kind of stuck. Is it more to one side, more to the other?
Caught on the underside there somewhere.
There we go.
That's it.
Thank you.
And then you're just chain piecing.
Yes, I love chain piecing.
And when you create this, are you making one block at a time, or would you do all the blocks?
I'm trying to think what I did.
Sorry.
No,
it goes out of your head, you do it, you spend so
Yes.
much time doing it, and then you step away and you completely forget what order you do
No,
things in.
I actually did them all at the same time. So all the piece blocks I did at the same time. So I chain pieced everything, and because all the same colours are going together, if that makes sense.
Yep.
You just have to make sure that you, when you get to this point, that you're, or when you're strip piecing, you've got your background with 2 the same colour triangles on each end.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
but you're not mixing
Yeah,
match.
but
okay.
when you chain piece, you often have them in the same order anyway. 'Cause
Yes.
with ironing, you always lay them back in the same order, so it actually wasn't difficult to do it all at once.
Okay.
So all of my blocks came together at the same time. But that's not to say if you wanted to do one colour at a time.
One colour at a time.
It depends. Just going to borrow that again. Sometimes if you've got a project that's going on for a long time, it is nice to do one colour at a time because you see one colour develop.
Yes,
And then
and
you put that one aside and then you move on to the next colour and it's kind of exciting.
Feels
to
like
yes.
something's growing.
Yeah, and you're seeing
Because some quilts
new.
don't come together until the end, do they?
Yeah.
So it's quite nice if you can see it growing.
Yeah.
Do you need the iron?
Yes, please. So you can see, if we weren't pressing these seams open, there'd be some quite chunky bits where all the seams sort of
Laying up.
Mm-hmm. Now you can see the corners, don't panic.
Oh, can we
If
have a
you're-
look in on that?
Yes, because you need a 1/4 of an inch on either side. Don't forget, don't panic and look at your block and think, oh no, that's not quite right because I don't have a point in that corner.
Okay.
It won't be a point, it'll be a flat top, a blunt
flat
top,
Okay.
because you've got to use up that 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. There we go.
Okay. You've got just over 5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. We'll get this block finished for sure. Yeah, again, so I'm just matching that corner up in
Those
that
little
corner.
points again.
Yes.
Yeah, because ordinarily some people would go through and just trim off all those dog ears, but
Yes.
keep them in so that you can line up.
Yes, very helpful. Okay, I'm going to cheat slightly and I'm going to add the last one on. Go on. Yes, so the fat end of the trapezoid always goes up,
Okay.
which you think it should be the opposite, but that's the correct way.
You've got to somehow think backwards.
Yes. Oh yes, one thing I was going to say about the big triangle you were mentioning. So you do have to cut some quite large triangles out of the background.
Oh yes,
to go
you
in
would,
between.
wouldn't you?
Yes.
Do you
so
think that would fit?
I think so.
Oh, it looks like you might be able to. Let's have a look. Yes, I would say that you could use that to cut out those. It looks like
that
it would
be
fit.
handy.
Because you've got your piece blocks in here and here, and then you've got your other ones. So that looks like that's the perfect size. Oh, large ruler it is, everyone. Large ruler. Hannah's going to put the graphics in for that one. She's going to put it as the main graphic. That's how much
Ooh.
Hannah likes that one.
Oh. Last seam, last seam. Oh, come on.
You've got 4 minutes, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
You're fine.
Perfect.
Loads of time.
Good, and we can show it next to each other when it's finished. there we go. That's your block.
Wow. Okay.
And then you, in order to make the flower, actually, once you sew them up, you actually sew them in strips going across.
Right. Okay.
So you have, I attach this long side of the triangle to this bit.
Yep.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 5 strips going across.
Okay. So you've got a strip going across it that's made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieced blocks. And two
large triangles.
And two
half
half
triangles.
And you create that strip.
Yes.
I love it with the navy background.
Yes, it's really nice.
Oh. And those diamonds in the middle join together to create the.
Yeah. The only bit I really pinned was along here.
Yes.
To get those points.
To make sure that those match up.
But it came out quite nice, so there wasn't a lot of.
I love it.
Yeah.
Looks really good. Super.
Yes.
Okay, so you've pinned those to make sure that those little points, because I guess the rest of it, you want to be quite accurate, and you've left on those little dog ears to make sure that you're not too far to the left or too far to the right.
Exactly.
But then it's just when you're constructing those.
Yes, so you
want to make sure.
Yeah, those points are the bits that really show up, and especially in the middle.
Yes, I was going to say that point in particular,
Yes.
you want to be absolutely right.
Spot on, yes.
And it's nice how it's got the bold colours in the middle and the greys on the outside.
It's really nice. It's a nice echo.
It's really nice. And shall we have a quick look at how that is same but different in the book in that other pattern?
Oh yes, that looked very Moroccan to me.
I like it. It's
Yeah,
nice as
I really
well.
like it. I really like it.
So there you can see the individual blocks more clearly, can't you?
Yeah, I really like that.
So we would just need a bit more of the background.
Or you could make it slightly narrower or smaller if you could work it out. Yeah.
And what did you use for backing?
Good
question, obviously.
Yes. Oh, it's lush. So, and it's cotton, but it has this really sort of silky.
Oh yes, it's
feel.
nice finish.
You know how
really nice finish.
Expensive sheets sort of have that nice sheen to them. Yeah. Yeah, even my daughter's like, "Ooh, I really like that backing."
Like that.
Yes.
That's very nice, and that's extra wide backing. That's a Cafe print, 108 inches wide, $12.99 for a half metre.
And with a white background, with the white binding, I mean, actually, when I was
it looks really smart with the white binding.
So you could have
it
it either side. So if you're feeling a bit more subdued or wanted
I think that's nice to have a double-sided quilt, and sometimes making a double-sided quilt is quite tricky.
Yes.
But that has got a really lovely print.
Nice
It's got that patchworky kind of feel to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Super.
Really nice.
Anything else you need to cover off? I think we've got it all.
Yes.
Oh, go on.
Another thing.
Yep. You've got about a minute.
Okay. I'll use this as an example. So when you are piecing these together, some of them are going to be one triangle right on top of the other. But if you're piecing this piece to this piece, then it's going to be at a funny angle.
Right.
What I did when I sewed these together is I always put a pin on the side where I know I need to sew.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that it keeps track of which.
Because you don't want to sew it the wrong way.
It's
that would be
easy
really annoying.
Exactly. So make sure you pin it or mark it really obviously which side you actually need to sew. Because it's easy to do the wrong one.
Just going to have a look. Stick that there.
Yeah.
Looks nice. I'll keep leaving that pin.
Yeah.
Super.
That's the only other thing.
Right. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank
that was
you.
super. It was so lovely working with you.
You too.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Good luck with your shop.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm going to steal these.
Oh, yes. Go for
I'm
it.
going to steal the book.
Yeah.
Let's go. Right. Thank you. Thank you. Right. So the book, brand new today. Looks great. £24.99. Quilts with an angle, 15 different projects, but you can see how you can create such fabulous, fabulous effects from just using something as simple as your 60 degree. We have got the big triangle ruler, which we have discovered is going to be, I think, going to be the easiest way. You'll need a straight ruler to cut your strips in the first place, but I think this ruler with the blunt tip on the top is going to make life as easy as possible. Just use a bit of washi tape to mark the exact point where you need to cut, and then you haven't got to measure every single time. So that's £22.99 for your 12.5 inch 60 degree ruler, from Creative Grids. So we've got 2 different bundles. We'll whiz through them super quick. We've got the Brights bundle. Most people have checked out £62.49, 7.5 metres in total. You've got your background fabric, 3.5 metres, a metre of the grey, and then a half a metre of all of your different prints. £62.49 includes your thread. It's not a small quilt, is it? There it is. And then your pastels that we've been working with, and I hope you'll agree, it looks really nice with the navy background. So you've got 3.5 metres of your navy. All those beautiful pastels. Be really careful if you've got it in your basket and you really do want it, make sure that you check it out because it's not yours until you do. £63.99. Make sure if you're looking on the website at our replay or you're watching on YouTube, call up the call centre and just double check just in case something's gone wrong and someone's changed their mind. But make sure you've got your ruler, make sure you've got your book, and you're good to go.